Yo, let me quickly ask a question, man, because I need to jump off still.
Yeah, go on.
Yes, I wanted to ask Shakara, if there's any African spiritual system that could fix an economy, like in the country, obviously on the continent of Africa. So if one of the countries or one of the states in Africa just was living purely by one of their spiritual systems, would that help them fix their economy, or what benefit would it bring to them?
So let me say this here. This is actually what I came on from. All right. So now that we proved that the Yoruba people are
you improve on nothing, Bomba Clark boy.
Are concerned, are concerned with our tradition, to some degree. The reality is that the idea that people just got practicing an African spiritual system is going to in and of itself solve problems associated with an economy is overstating the point. Like, nobody will make that claim. As long as we practice Ifa, then the economy of Nigeria will resolve itself. Yeah. So the answer to the question would have to take into consideration direct and indirect things. Yes. So one of the things that religion does is that it organizes the social tastes, of the people. Okay. For example, there is an industry for halal because there is a religion that only eats meat from halal sources. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So because of that sensibility, it creates an industry. Yes. The same goes for kosher. There's an industry for kosher because there's a religious inclination towards eating meat that has been, sanctified, so to speak, in a certain kind of way. Yeah. And so, by implication, all religions and all spiritual systems inform economies. Yeah. Because the religion informs the tastes of the people. Yeah. In that sense. All right. Now, I would say that in as much as an African spiritual system would change the taste of the people, coming from where we're coming from, one of the things that the adherence to an African spiritual system would do in many African countries is that it would redefine how the place of the church in the economy. Yeah. Bearing in mind that churches, as in terms of the churches, factor into the economy of the country. Does that make sense? Like, they don't pay taxes. Yeah.
With due respect, you spend a lot of time highlighting.
Let him explain it. Let him explain it, man.
Finish, though.
Reggie, shut up, please, because you ain't.
Reggie, shut up. No, come on. Let him get to the end, because I've still got more questions in it, and I've got to jump off.
I don't want to make it long, but obviously it's not a simple question that you're asking, man, isn't it, really? So
right.
Yeah, but hey, Shaka, is it like the equivalent of when I was in yard? I lived. Shush, man, you've been talking for a long time, Reggie, man. Let someone else have a go.
You just got into the panel. What you saying, man? I just want to chime in quickly. Come on, Reg, man.
Let Shakara finish his explanation, innit? Because he never got to the end of his
explanation. I just wanted to follow Shakara's reasoning. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I was going to ask him a question like, is it the equivalent of when I lived in yard, and obviously the closest thing to an African spiritual base was Rastafari, and we separated ourselves and made brooms, and sold them, and we grew callaloo, and we made mangoes, and we grew ganja, and made our own economy off of the back of that.
Right. That's the point. So the role that religion plays in solving the problems of an economy is how it socially organizes the people. Like I said yesterday, there's no abracadabra. I'm gonna do a ritual to Oya and Oshun, and I'm gonna get bare P, or we're gonna, you know what I'm saying, or Nigeria's oil situation is gonna be solved tomorrow. That doesn't happen. It's about the social organization of the people and how the people apply their religious understanding to their economic, to their social organization and their economic distribution. That's a short answer, really.
Okay, respect.
That was a short answer, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like,
on a level, that's a
what I'm trying to say then. So, along that then, what's the benefits? What benefits, yeah, could it bring for everyone, or for one country in Africa to literally just follow one African spiritual system? Like, wait, what benefit? I'm asking like a layman in it. What benefits could there ever be to doing that?
The benefit there is not necessarily inherent in the African spiritual system in all ways. So let's say like any religion that is practiced by a whole group of people is going to benefit them, if that makes sense. Yeah, like you know, Christianity helped to unite Europe. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of vibe, yeah. So if all people are practicing, you know, if all people are practicing one religion, there's a basis of there's a basic level of commonality that they share that can unite them on certain levels, yeah. For African people, the strength of African spirituality, again, you can't divorce African spiritual systems from the culture that birthed them, yeah. So the strength of African spirituality, specifically to African people, is that because of the shared ideas within them, it would help in order to reconcile African people to their past, a history that because of foreign intervention we're disconnected from. So we feel like we're more disconnected than we are connected, but an understanding of our original cultures would show us how connected we actually are. So in the consciousness of the people, we're not seeing ourselves as so different anymore. We're seeing ourselves as more similar. Yeah, again, that's an indirect benefit. It doesn't necessarily relate directly to an economy, except for the fact that people are an essential part of an economy.
Right. It sort of does relate to a benefit on the economy, because, like you're saying, if the whole country, so if the whole of Nigeria practices that Igbo tradition or whatever Igbo's religion is or whatnot, yeah, and they're all, obviously there's going to be some sort of benefits. They're going to be working together, and then,
well, Veli, we see so many examples. We see so many examples in Africa where a whole countries follow one religion, and it doesn't make a jot of difference to their economy. You know what I'm saying? And even
that was going to be my next question. Yeah,
right. Yet to tell us which system of African spirituality.
Yeah, would there ever, what past system could you ever use to benefit? How could going back to a past system?
Veli, did you hear me say when I started? The first thing I said was there is no idea that just practicing an African spiritual system is going to solve economic problems.
Yeah. You did say that.
Well, yeah, you can pin down a religion as
yeah, that would be stupid to think Jesus would solve your economical problems. Words without works is dumb. Do you know what I'm trying to show you? Talking a lot of nonsense about any religion. If you just say well, I'm just saying, Reggie, if you were praying to the prophet, peace be upon him, and that's all you done every single day, and you didn't go to work, you're gonna be fucking broke, bro.
On the contrary, Shakara seems to feel that it's the Abrahamic faiths that are the main cause of all our downfall. So why is it that you can pin all the what do you call it, misfortunes of our people?
Misrepresenting the man, Reg. I know that for a fact. You're misrepresenting the man.
You're misrepresenting.
It's not Abrahamic versus this. Get the verses thing out of your mind. It's not verses. We're just reasoning, innit?
You're misrepresenting at the moment. When
so, Shaq.
Yeah,
don't worry about that. Obviously, you know it was a misrepresentation. Yeah. So, with the African spiritual systems, what benefits in the future could going back to one of these African spiritual systems, what benefits could that do for us in the future? When you say that, are we still talking purely economically? No, just in general. What benefits?
Right. So
benefits?
I'm saying, yeah. So okay. There's a concept called cultural continuity. Yeah. I'm going to answer it simply. It would have the same benefits for us that the Western world being rooted in the civilization and culture of Greece and Rome has for them.
Say that again, sorry?
It would have the same benefit to us that European or Western civilization being rooted in Greece and Rome has for them.
But do they live today by Greece and Rome standards, or?
Well, if anything, can I break this down for you, Shax? Because I think Shax is saying that they use it as an inspiration, innit, to do wickedness, or not wickedness, but to do what they need to do. Do you get what I'm trying to show you? Like certain things, what they need to do, manifest, innit? They probably got built in a relationship, an economic relationship with the religion. Is that what you're trying to say, Shax?
Yes, yeah, but it's
hey, yo, Shax, listen, yeah. What benefits does Greece and Rome bring to? What benefit? How does Europe benefit from Greece and Rome today?
Because Europe or the Western world is united by a shared origin that's starting from Greece and Rome. Yeah, their philosophical development. Well, if you ask them where today, democracy is the highest form of government as they promote it. Yeah, where do they say that democracy started?
Yeah, in Greece and Rome, and that.
In Greece. Right, so they're fulfilling and improving and developing on the culture of their ancestors. That's exactly what they're doing.
Right, but that was the point that I wanted you to get to, yeah.
Yeah, one second. That
was the point that I wanted you to get to there, Shaka, yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
but the religion is not.
Yeah, but wait, listen. You see what they've done, yeah?
Yeah.
So they looked at some of the old shit, yeah, and cherry picked the best parts.
Yeah.
And made it up to date today.
Yeah.
It's not like they've gone back. And recreated any old shit.
No, they have.
Wait. Instead of having the wheel with a wooden wheel now, they've made a metal wheel and put a fucking inner tube and a fucking time. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, so they've cherry picked the best parts and made it into a fucking a run flat tire now. You get me? Tire can't burst now.
But
and while they've done that, they've said it's exclusive to them. As well, you know, they've also added the exclusivity, like they can only do it, and it's only entitlement for them.
And because
that's what I'm trying to find out. Is there anything that African spirituality, or being an African spiritualist, can that achieve anything like that?
Yes. Bearing in mind, that the Greek civilization. Yes, that still informs Western civilization today. Yes, they got their start, they learned their knowledge from ancient Kemet. So if ancient Kemet, could found the earliest European civilization that is still informing them to today, why is it there's nothing in it? Why doesn't it stand to reason that there may be things in ancient Kemet that could inform us today? You see what I'm saying? It's only because of the idea that things African are primitive and past and have no application in the present that we can't get over the psychology. But we would never say, things from the Greek and Roman period can have no relevance in the present, because the civilizations that are born from Greece and Rome have had almost uninterrupted cultural continuity from that time until now.
But Shaka, that's a bit of a change though, because I remember I said, that they've cherry-picked the best parts of whatever they feel to make the new laws and the new system.
No, but Veli, you're wrong. You're wrong. Yeah, let me tell you why you're wrong. They didn't just cherry parts. Yeah, they have had a almost uninterrupted process of continued development. Yeah, so they have evolved through the stages independently, if that makes sense. Yeah, based upon their own intention for developing their own culture. Nobody is asking, when people talk about African spirituality, people are only capable of seeing it as a past primitive thing. They're not able to understand that it is a living reality. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they can only see it as as us going back. but not us going forward.
Yeah, but realistically, with the Roman Empire, it encroached on a lot of different people's cultures, whether they were European or African, in a sense like that. And even to this day, you can see that a lot of European people, they can't really connect to Jesus, even though he might be in his their appearances. What I find a lot of European people, especially the young people, if you check with like the emos and all them rock and roll type of youths, they go back to they're looking for their pagan beliefs again.
Yeah. So so the reality is, Veli, that the question that you're the issue that you're probing at the moment. All right. If I said explain democracy, and how democracy benefits a society, like you need a bit of time to break that down, innit?
Shakra, you're doing a terrible job, mate. You do a bit.
But you know what?
You're doing a terrible heckling job, bro.
Yo, hold on a sec, yeah?
I know,
Let
Reggie.
me say something to Shaq, yeah? Yo, Shaq, listen to this, though, yeah? So, like, we're saying about democracy is going to take a couple of sentences to explain, but when you look at the different states of democratic systems that have come up, you can see that they've modelled it on one and then put their own twist to it, to suit their land. So that's what I'm trying to say. That so is there an African spiritual system or is there an African democratic system that can be used like that? Can you use it like that?
So now, when you say that, okay, let me clarify your question. You're saying, is there a basic African spiritual system that you can take the principles from and rejig it and mold it and shape it to various different groups of people? Yeah.
So now it's a flat tire. You can use it on the road.
Yes. The simple answer to that, there's a concept here coming out of Southern and East Africa, called Ubuntu. Yes. And so it's a philosophical system of ideas. Ubuntu is about people. Yes, it's about people.
That's the Shona, yeah?
No, it's not just the Shona. It exists among the Shona, but it's in various different so-called Bantu languages. The term Ubuntu. Wow. I say Bantu, not even just Bantu languages. Sorry, but the languages that are the term predominates in East, Central, and Southern Africa. Yes, in various different forms. Okay, and so Ubuntu is not just an idea about the value of people, but it informs systems of social organization. It's a political system, and there's a book by a brother by the name of Kimbwadende Fukiao, called Umbongi, an African Political System, where he explains how traditional African social orders can inform the development of new modern day political institutions. Now, again, because when I say democracy, people have an intuitive understanding of what that means because we live in a society that claims to be democratic. At the same time, the problem that I'm going to have now is that if I say Ubuntu, nobody knows what the hell I mean. Just what I'm saying? I
know one called it Umbanda.
Wait. That's not really the big issue, though, bro. It's like you're saying, if you're able to break it down in terms which are understandable to masses, then whether it's called Ubuntu or whether it's called flipping Shakara's manifesto, it won't matter, innit? As long as it's being able to be understood.
I understand what I mean, though, Veli. I'm saying that if I say democracy, I don't have to do a big explanation. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. If nobody here understood the word or the concept of democracy, I would. But I'm saying that because we live in a society that claims to be democratic, I can say democracy and people relate to it. But when I say Ubuntu, people don't relate to it. So I can break it down. It just means that the breakdown would have to be. I have to overcome people's lack of understanding in a way that I don't have to do if I say democracy. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's because that system's already in place, though.
That's the point I'm trying to make. So I'm saying what I'm trying to highlight is the fact that
Shaka, come on, man, you got to think about it like in serious terms, though. Like
if there's a system that's in place that everyone that you can easily explain it to, and you're bringing up a past system which is going to incorporate future things or whatever, you're going to have to re-explain it. But like I was saying,
bro, you see the same way, bro. In the same way, yeah, that you see democracy in this country, yeah, there are books, yeah, of hundreds of pages long that explain the system, yeah. America has to facilitate its democracy. It has reams of papers, a constitution and laws, yeah, that in order to understand its democracy, like and protocols for how their system is organized, is in the sense of the fact that, all right, let me ask you this, really, yeah. If you were to explain Parliament, yeah, if you were to explain Westminster Parliament, yeah, all right, how would you explain it?
The sim be able to explain how Parliament works.
Yeah, how does Parliament work?
The simplest way would be that each member of Parliament is a voted representative from the local council,
right,
or local constituents that we voted in place to have a say in how we want rules and regulations, or even different things to work in our town. And like you're saying, it does sound like a village elder or so and so, but it's just been prettied up a bit more. But that's what I'm trying to say about the Shaka. This is what I'm trying to say to you, cuz but you're talking to me, fam, yeah, when I'm trying to understand it. When you're talking to someone that's not really trying to understand it, or that's really trying to critique it, you have to break it down into layman's term, brother. And it's because it comes, because it will start to be.
Yeah, they're
going to start to make you like a god of the gaps and so and so. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I wanted to ask. Wait. Because I wanted to ask a question. Yeah, I did want to ask a question there. So, in sort of the Ubuntu system, yeah, is there any sort of like magic or any worshipping to a deity that needs to be done for anything to happen or anything like that? Does it have anything to do with anything like that?
The Ubuntu system, so all African cultures have spiritual systems associated with them. Ubuntu informs the spiritual system, and the spiritual system informs Ubuntu. Yeah. So in essence, yeah, I guess because the separation place. Someone's making a lot of noise with their mic.
Yeah, he's in the background.
It's usually Malik, you know. Malik's got bare background.
No, not me. I don't know why people always say it's me. But
go away when I'm muted.
Yeah, somehow, I don't know.
It might be you. All right, so let me say this now, yeah. The separation between sacred and secular is not the same in traditional African societies as it is in European society. Yeah, so let's get that clear. However, it is possible in theory to secularize Ubuntu. Yeah, but let me give you an example of how a governmental system could be organized around an Ubuntu philosophy. Okay, an example of this actually was in development in Grenada under the New Jewel movement or Maurice Bishop. Okay. So you've got a central government, yeah, that has its various ministries in relation to the different institutions of the society: education, economics, labor, law, whatever it is, yeah. And then among the people, you have different systems of social organization, yeah? So whereas there's agriculture in the society, there's an organization that organizes all the agricultural workers, yes? And they have a stake in the industry of agriculture, yeah? So the workers themselves benefit exponentially from the labor that they provide, and how agriculture fits into the general workers of the nation, how the nation is fed, and the crops for export and them kind of things there is decided by the organizations of the workers, yeah, what's it called, with the minister for that particular, those workers, the agricultural organization puts a person in the government, yeah, that represents their interest in their business. Yeah. You will also have what's it called? What they in Grenada call zonal councils, whereby the zonal the people in each, let's say, parish are organized to politically make decisions about the workings of their parish. Yeah. And high government officials are required every month to visit one of these parishes and give a report on the overall macro running of the nation. Yes? Right? Another organization that you might have is an organization associated just exclusively with women. Because if you understand where we are at the moment and the fact that our societies, women have issues that are specific to women and or inequalities that are specific to women.
It does sound like a democratic system, though.
But I'm not.
It sounds better than a democratic system.
But you know, like, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying, though. Yeah, why I'm saying it sounds like a democrat. Listen, he's got his Nigerian passport up there. He's a dickhead. Yeah, but like I was saying, yeah, why it sounds like a democratic system to me,
yeah,
is that.
Is what I'm saying. Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Is what I'm saying understandable?
Yeah.
Of course it is. Because basically
but
you're
Shaka,
getting...
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I was going to make a point. Wait, let me just make one point, yeah? Because I was going to make a point on what you were saying, Shaka, yeah? Like,
is what I'm saying.
It sounds understandable, but I wanted to make a point on it sounding understandable. It's like I was saying, remember what the point I was making before, yeah? So England had their own version of a democratic system. Yes. So it sounds like an African version of a democratic system that you're wanting to have installed. Can
I ask Shaka a question?
I would say
let him finish. Two
things here that the people the leadership in Grenada, that they define some of what I'm saying as participatory democracy, which is different to what we have over here. Okay, but again, I wouldn't use the word democracy. Okay. But based upon where most people are coming from, yes, I would say yes. It sounds like a version of a democratic system, but I'm saying that Ubuntu proceeded like as a system of social organization. This is long before Greece and Rome. Right?
Yeah, of course.
But you know what makes it different, though, Shaks, to me, from my understanding, is it's more inclusive of the people.
Right.
So if I'm a builder, I need somebody representing me in the fucking place as a builder. Do you know what I'm saying?
There's right now we've got something called unions. They're not as good as they used to be, but that's the sort of same.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the same. Yeah, but that's the same sort of thing, though. But that's the same. But listen. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen. Wait. Let me finish though. Because Freddie was cutting me. Yeah, because like I was saying with the unions, they're not the same as they was at that time. They're not the same as they was when they was first invented, but like you say, the reasons why they was invented is the same thing, to get a representative, so you can get your work rights. It might not have been specifically for black workers. I hear that. I hear what man's saying, yeah. But the idea of a union was for workers to have their work rights met and conditions be working in the safest manner as possible.
Well, you know they turn a union into another tax. Come on, Phil. You know what they've done to the unions. It's got no say in society at the moment. Maybe in the 80s and 70s, but not now.
Bearing in mind, right, this is the fundamental difference. First, I want to point out something really, in relation to what the point I've mentioned before, I've said and you notice that since I've said it, I'm not wrong on you for this because it's natural to do this. But all you can do is align it with things in your environment that it sounds like. Does that make sense?
I can only make that. That's why I did try to make that statement at the start. Before you jumped online. Wait, hold on. I did make this statement before. That every time I'm going to make a comparison, it's going to be to a capitalist society that I live in today, because that's the only society that I know about living in. So I can only make that comparison as a living comparison. So obviously, if you're trying to implement a new system or whatever, I'm only going to be able to compare it to whatever I've seen before or any other.
That's what I'm saying.
But you know what, Vel, I hope Reggie inspires someone to get their passport and fly the fuck out. Because if you'd have managed to see more things in your mind, you could grasp what he's saying a bit quicker. You know what I'm saying, fam?
I can see what he's saying.
I see what he's saying.
I see what he's saying. I've been to
Can I ask Shakara a question, please?
I think 3-4 different continents. I've been to a lot of countries and different lifestyles, and I've seen how people live and rah. So
how come you can't
I don't understand.
It then, fam?
Yeah, I can grasp it. So
and
that's what I'm saying. And what I was saying,
can I Shakara a question, please?
No, but I'm saying, Phil, if you see different things, you must be able to relate it to something else, like in Africa that you saw.
Yeah, because
the continent it was. You know what I'm saying?
Emina,
go. Hold on. I want to ask you a question, Shakara. 2 seconds, man.
I'll come to it. I don't.
So let him go through still, because I'm going to jump off in 1 sec. No, but listen, I'll be honest. I'm going to jump off in 1 sec. Listen, I'm going to jump off in 1 sec here, and you can carry on with the question, innit? So, like I said, we need people that are asking questions about the thing, innit? So you're going to listen, cuz you're going to be asking questions.
Similar to the European system and the Asian system. People are going to have courts. People are going to encroach on other people's land. Animals are going to do certain things. So they have courts in the systems and certain things what they delegate on. I don't see what's so hard about.
I was trying to get to that point, yeah, because again, like I was saying, when you first start your system, you might be able to get it running as smoothly as possible. After a while, the shit's been running for 100 years, 20 years, or whatever. There's going to be fucking chinks in the armor of shit that you need to hold in place.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say to you, Veli, before there was like even what we see today, they had different kings in England, and it's the same thing in Africa, different places where they had their own rulers and certain things like that. So it's the same sort of concept.
Like, God bless Grenada, because that's a living example. What Shaka said is happening today. So God bless them, Grenadian people. Really.
That was Maurice Bishop. But yeah,
the European, American invasion.
He got assassinated. Yeah.
But can I say here that the point is that I don't necessarily wrong people for not understanding some of what I'm saying, because I understand that the concepts, there's an element to which the concepts are we don't have an experiential reality of it, if that makes sense. Yeah.
No, we do.
Right. But I don't wrong people for not understanding. At the same time, there are people that don't want to understand anything that I'm saying anyway, so they're going to do that and try to use it, yeah? So big up to those people, you know what I'm saying, done.
So Shakara, can I ask you a question?
The fundamental difference there, though, is fairly, yeah, is that unions in British society have to fight, yeah, for right of place, yeah, within a capitalist run economy, if that makes sense. Yeah, the unions in the country are not even 100 years old.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Why?
Yeah.
Because the economic system is not centered around people; it's centered around property. The economic system that is centered around people, yes, and African spiritual systems are centered around relationship with their environment, with nature. Yeah. So another fundamental way in which an African spiritual understanding would affect economics is in how
Reg, you give mute your mic because you're giving us some background. Mute your mic, bro.
So yeah, the other way in which an African spiritual system would have an economic impact is the way in which the people relate to nature. Because because it's essentially nature-based, the preservation of nature is paramount. So you would consider the impact on nature before you develop economically. So it's less likely, it's not impossible, but it's less likely for you to pollute the air and pollute the ocean and these kinds of things, because the preservation of these natural forces is deeply knitted within your cosmological understanding. You know what I'm saying?
So, Shakara.
Yes, sir.
So how does that culture deal with tax?
I wouldn't argue that there's one way. I would say that tax would be a way. Sorry, tax would be one of those flexible things that Veli was talking about. So the basic ideas are there, but how tax is generated, I'd say that can be flexible. I couldn't give one answer to that. Just like tax is not generated in the same way in any country in the world, even as capitalist.
No, but Shakara, one second, man, because I'm going to jump off. I'm going to go on. Answer your question because I'm going to jump off still. But like I was saying, yeah, see, like obviously he's talking about Ubuntu, yeah, and I was likening it to democracy, yeah. So it's like obviously it's just like going to be so Ubuntu. The new version is going to be an evolution on the democratic system that's already sort of in place, but just not improved, working for the people.
Very. Look at it like this. The new Ubuntu system is an improvement upon the old Ubuntu system. Look at it like that.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Like that. Yeah.
So instead of animals, it's going to be money now.
I don't understand, sorry.
So in the old Ubuntu way,
no,
it's not to say there was not money, but I think the money was the cattle or animals. So now in the newer world, it's going to be some sort of currency.
No, animals were not currency. Animals were traded like any other item. So I would
for what?
I would suggest, but before for whatever had.
Were they traded for money?
No, you could buy animals, or you could trade animals for other products.
Yeah, but now we're in another kind of currency now. We use money in it.
You can use money, but I'm saying that there is nothing to say that resources cannot be traded either. So I would actually suggest, the first thing is that where there is currency would be measured against a natural resource. Yeah. So the idea of creating
that would be the new version.
Yes, but that's an old principle. So in ancient societies where there was money, it was, even in European societies where there was money, it was measured up against gold and other natural resources.
For instance, there's bauxite in Jamaica, innit? So if I wanted steel, I could trade bauxite for steel instead of getting the money. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and so those systems of trade are still viable. They're ancient, but they're still viable today. There's no reason why.
But what I'm trying to say to you, Shakara, like you got these people now that's gonna enter the world market.
What's your point? Sorry,
what I'm trying to say to you that this is an African concept that's gonna evolve in it. It's always gonna grow in it. So I'm gonna say what I'm trying to say to you. We're in a newer type of world. It's a world market now.
Yes. What's your point?
So how do you think they can use these same techniques into the world?
The world would have to come to us, though. If we decided to end trade and they wanted something what we had, they'd have to come knocking on your door, innit?
So my point is now.
Sorry, Turo.
My point is, have they got their own currency then?
Sorry. The first thing is that Veli was asking me about internal economics. Yeah, he was asking me about internally in a nation. Okay. Among the people of a nation, okay. Externally, once that nation is powerful enough to command its own terms, anybody who wants to trade with that nation would have to trade on those terms. It's possible to have two different currencies running in a nation, you know.
So what are the new terms they run by?
You're asking me all these intricate, finer details questions. I'm saying
it's simple. What I'm trying to say to you, and I could understand the old version, but I'm saying in the newer days, that today and tomorrow, they have to develop their model in it. Basically, that's all I'm saying. Like Betty is saying.
And by the
of course, bro, you're asking dumb questions, though, Tora. Because of course,
no. But what I'm trying to say to you, then, I'm not saying that is a bad idea. I'm trying to elaborate on the idea. I'm not trying to diss anybody.
I'm trying to
just listen to the idea first, and then you can get a grasp of what he's saying, isn't it?
The point is that some of the questions that you're asking, there is no one answer to. That could work a number of different ways. So I'm giving you an example of something at the moment. Yeah, I have heard of instances whereby you have currencies that run for internal development, yeah, and or among your own group of people. Or the groups of nations that are trading in the way or that have the same economic system for you, and then you create another currency, yeah, that has a transfer value rate for trading with the rest of the world. Yeah, that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is, well, the terms that we are setting up is we've got natural resources. If you want them, you have to give us something in return, and we can define what that is. So if all these nations are creating, I don't know, artificial intelligence, but they need our resources in order to create their artificial intelligence. We put a price in terms of their finished products and our natural resources. So in order to get a certain amount of this, we want a certain amount of those robots over there. You know what I'm saying, and whatever it is like that. So there's a number of ways that can work. Yeah, but that is a finer details question. 1 second.
So how would you?
1 second. That is a finer details question that would have to be answered with the organic development, the actual experiential development of that system.
So how would you pay teachers?
Did you hear what the man just said?
So
I'm saying
you'd have to have a lived experience of the system.
The point I'm trying to make to Shakara,
you'd have to have a lived experience of the system.
It's all right. Again,
hold on, 2 seconds. Calm down for a second. It's not a trick question. It's not a bad mind question. It's a simple question because
I'm just saying you've gone from there to there. You're just going all over the place.
No, but on the title it says economics. I'm talking about economics now.
Yes.
So I'm not diverted the question. Shakara brought up
But you just went to teachers. You just went to education, innit?
No, but
I'll come back later.
You just from education. Yeah, come back later,
man, because it's a simple question. I can't talk properly, man.
Legitimate question. Just let me answer it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and Freddie, it's fine. It's an okay question. I'm not offended by the question. All right. How would you pay teachers? Again, you're asking a question to which there are multiple answers to that question. The one way is that, first of all, teachers would have an organization within the society whereby they also feed into the curriculum, yeah, as it stands. Okay. There's one way to do it is to have the different social organizations whereby the people who work in those industries that are connected with natural resources, the organizations themselves would pay a tax to the government for social institutions, for example, the healthcare institutions and the teachers' institutions. Yeah. So in effect, the teachers would be paid for by the natural resources or the industries that govern the natural resources of the land. That's one way to do it. Yeah. But again, like you're asking me questions whereby, like every election cycle, in this country, the chancellor of the exchequer, yeah, the man that deals with the money, has to go through all kinds of many different calculations, yeah, to figure out how we're going to pay teachers, how we're going to pay doctors, and them kind of things there. So these questions are not simple ones. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And I feel what you're saying, but the reason why I say that, because like the government is sometimes its own corporation. What I heard you said, do the government use these methods as well?
Which government? Sorry.
The government we were talking about.
What, in Grenada?
No, in the areas of Africa,
No, they don't.
Southeast.
Because there's no government that's running a system based upon Ubuntu politics or Ubuntu political ideas. That's not happening.
But this is my whole point now. You can have individual tribal people now because you have cryptocurrencies and all these different things. They can form their own way of currency now, so they can pay people and even trade. They can trade and thingy with other different people, so any tribal people now can enter the world market now.
Yeah, okay.
Shaka, I was going to ask you a question still, you know. I was going to say, when did it mash up in Grenada, or did they abandon it?
So there was
80s.
There was internal upheaval and external upheaval.
I didn't even know they were using it, so
so there was internal upheaval and external upheaval. Without going into all the details, there were internal contradictions in terms of differences, and those differences opened the way for the American government to come in and basically overturn the whole revolution.
Okay, cool.
So Shaka, you concede that you really haven't been able to demonstrate that there is a viable African spiritual system that will improve Africa's economy.
You're entitled to your opinion.
Well, I think it's my opinion, and it's probably the opinion of a large majority of the viewers here. You failed to demonstrate the point, but I think it's time we move on to something else. Thank you for your attempt.
This guy's
all I would say,
you're an idiot, bro.
Is what?
I said you're an idiot, man.
Okay.
Because anyway, what subject have you got to speak about after this?
All I would say is that when it comes to the things that I've said, if Reggie has a challenge for it, an intelligent one, I'd welcome it. But if not, that's fine. You can, feel free to hold on to your conclusion. It has
your spiritual systems just sounds a lot more like what we have already in terms of like.
All right.
In Nigeria, for example, we have.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
So how old is it than the current form we got already?
Okay, Freddie, let him finish. He said in Nigeria we have what?
We have states, and some of the states, they govern themselves. They have a budget, and whoever's in charge basically decides where the money is put into.
Okay.
And obviously, you know about the corrupt.
And in your opinion, what I've just explained sounds like the Nigerian political system.
It sounds very close to it. I mean,
okay,
it's a similar framework.
You're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Yeah, I don't think that's an intelligent assessment, but you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah, I think like obviously you did point out that you can't. It's more detailed than that, and that it needs to like obviously put into like a big legislation.
Is any political economic system. Yeah, if I was to go to Nigeria and look at the laws that govern how economics and resources are distributed, I would find documents upon documents that explain these things and that put rules in place to do these things and them kind of things. So, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
It's correct. You're right. You're right. So, obviously, without the presence of you being able to do that, or without the time, of course, we have to just concede that we've been unable to demonstrate, which is fine. You get what I'm saying?
You're entitled to your opinion, as I've said. You know what I'm saying? I won't take that. You know what I'm saying?
But it's clear. We can't say that you have demonstrated.
Do you think America had the more or less the strongest part to play in the destruction of this of it over in Grenada?
By the way, sorry, say that again. Sorry. No. Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yes, I would say so. At the same time, I would tend to err on the side of caution in the sense of the fact that we have to look at those internal contradictions, and how they the American invasion. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, there's a lot of lessons to be learned there. So I'd guard against any analysis of Grenada that just says, well, it was America, which they did. Like I would also guard against any analysis that suggests that it wasn't America. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's possible to like all the political systems have times of upheaval and destabilization. Yeah, every so often in the capitalist world, you get what's called a recession. Yeah, and the capitalist economies actually rely upon mass poverty. Yeah, within the nations and also around the world. Yeah, so the opulence of a nation like Britain is inherently linked to the impoverishment of Africa and other places in the world. Yeah, it doesn't exist without it because of the fact that African nations are unable to benefit sufficiently from their resources. It is the key factor that contributes to the wealth of Europe. They don't have to pay what the resources are worth. Yeah, that's the key factor that contributes to that. And so because of that mere fact alone impoverishes the continent, yeah, and enriches Europe, yeah. And so the African-centered political, economic, and social institution, yeah, is inherently about doing what is best for the people. It centers African people outside of attaining and trying to seek to implement and imitate Westminster style democracy, which is the factor that is contributing to the idea that we give over our resources to the people that we consider to have the superior economic and political social systems. Yeah, if we considered our own political and economic social systems to be superior, effectively, the psychological impact of that would be that we would be more inclined to respect our social institutions and respect our resources and respect our land even more, and less inclined to allow people to come and exploit them.
Yeah, but that's the problem. How are we gonna believe that how are we gonna believe that our systems are superior if it's not being demonstrated?
Bro, listen, I'm saying, yeah, when you can't fathom it and you've been beaten down and you've been downtrodden in this system for so long, and you can't like elevate your mind to think of anything else apart from this little rabbit hole thing, what's going on now, and this little hamster wheel thing, you won't ever be able to, like, you know what I'm saying, grasp what Shaka's saying, innit? Because obviously you're so used to this way of life, you won't want to, like, try and see if you can elevate to try and do something over there and something better over there. Like, there is alternatives how to live, you know, bro. We don't just have to have one rule, because this ain't working. What's currently happening at the moment isn't working. And if you're trying to, do you know what I'm saying, say this is anything nice, you'd be wrong, isn't it? Because it's more than flawed in many areas.
I agree, Freddie. And the answer to your question, Reggie, is that there are demonstrations to varying different degrees. But I would also agree with you that there is a level to which that demonstration is yet to manifest itself, partly because we have not been dedicating ourselves to manifesting it for any significant period of time. Yeah. So the reality is that we draw on the examples of our history, whereby these systems have been implemented to varying different degrees. We look at where we can strengthen them and build upon them to suit modern day realities, and we go about the business of solving those problems. Some of those problems will be solved within the experience as a part of the process of implementing the system. Yeah. But as Freddie has said, the system that we currently have, we know for a fact is not serving us. Yeah. We know for a fact is contributing to the continued oppression, impoverishment, and exploitation of our land and our people. We know that for a fact. There's no question about that. And the only questions about that come from brothers and sisters among us who seek to manifest and perpetuate what Fela and Nicola Pakuti referred to as the colonial mentality, yes, whereby all things European, be it the European name, be it the European politics, be it the European clothes, be it the European economics, be it the European religion, we see all of those things as superior to things African. And so an essential point, yeah, in terms of us being able to manifest what has not been yet manifested is coming out of the colonial mentality, coming out of the colonial.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I implore people like yourself and even Fred Cole, who likes to come on here and cheerlead for a lot of people and not really add much. But I implore people.
I'm adding my little 2 pences, innit? Obviously, I ain't got the greatest vernacular, but I'm adding my little 2 pences. Business in what you're saying, innit?
I implore people like yourself, Shakara and Fred Cole, to put in as much detail a demonstration of how this will work, so people will be convinced in such ideas, because that's the only reason. No, that will be the only way that people. The reason why people believe or are so attracted to what you guys call this colonial system is because it has demonstrated its ability to give some people somewhat success, even if it's as individuals or even if it's a small isolation of people, including to some extent, believe it or not, some black people actually are successful and have done well under the system. And if it has demonstrated, as it has demonstrated that in some ways it can be successful, then of course people are going to be entitled to say, okay, this system works and the system is actually quite okay. But until you guys demonstrate the other system, then people have every right to question and ask, you know, what, like,
there is something.
Go on, sir.
There is some truth in what you're saying. However, the problem is, Brother Reggie, is that when brothers and sisters have actually tried to implement the systems and have had Because you talk as though there's never been success in the Pan-African ideology. There has been. Right? There's many success stories. The problem is that whenever there are success stories, there are brothers and sisters who are colonial-minded and sell out the thing, to the colonial master, because they believe that the colonial master system is superior, So, Brother Reggie, in as much as that is the case, can I have your assurance, that as and where that system it takes place, or people are implementing it, that we will have no interruptions and no anti-propaganda from brothers like yourself. If you don't want to get involved in what is going on, so if brothers and sisters who are African spiritualists want to restore the dignity to African traditions, that we have no comment and no hindrance and nothing from our Christian brothers and sisters, even if you don't want to believe in it, that's fine, But if Africans see value in restoring dignity and pride to the indigenous spiritual systems of our continent, then we don't really need to hear from, if that's the case, our Christian brothers and sisters who don't want nothing to do with your tradition. Fine, don't have nothing to do with it, but allow us to have something to do with it. For example, when as and where another Kwame Nkrumah, rises up at the helm of a nation on the continent, that we don't have brothers and sisters who believe in Westminster democracy selling out and giving intelligence, to the CIA and the FBI and MI5 and MI6 and assisting in the overthrow of that leader and welcoming in the corporations of Britain and America to come and impoverish the people, and reversing the gains, like Thomas Sankara did in Burkina Faso. In the space of 4 years, Thomas Sankara in Burkina Faso made Burkina Faso food self-sufficient. There is not one African nation today on the continent that is food self-sufficient. Yes, there are a couple that may be on the way to getting there. I'm made to understand that Eritrea may be on the way to getting there, but they're not quite there yet. All right. What's it called? But food self-sufficiency was achieved in Burkina Faso under a Pan-African government that valued African culture in Burkina Faso in 4 years. What happened? He was betrayed by people that were willing to sell him out to French colonizers, and the French colonizers came in and reversed all of the gains that he had made, and installed a dictator that was only overthrown about 2 or 3 years ago. Blaise Compaoré, 1987. 1987 until about 2 or 3 years ago. So the success of Thomas Sankara is undeniable. One cannot deny Thomas Sankara, but sellouts who have a Western mentality destroyed the thing. So once the sellouts stop destroying the thing, they're good.
Shakara, we've seen
just what they did in Black Wall Street, just what they did to Marcus Garvey, other organizations. This is why it's unfathomable for people like yourself to believe in your own ability. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you're so downtrodden. You get me? Because I've actually looked off the grid without society. I used to have lunch on the beach every single day, God sends. I was happy with the earth and nature and what was surrounding me. I didn't need a paycheck. Do you get what I'm saying? Can you fathom that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can imagine that.
The strength of the oppressor.
What I would say is that there's never been a leadership or government that hasn't had to face opposition from their own people within or whatever like that. You look at even today, the previous, even Boris Johnson, he has people that are inside within his party that go against him, that would stab him in the back. He had to get rid of, I think it's Sajid Javid, the former Home Secretary. He had to sack him.
Reggie, what would happen?
His party was against him. He was against him. Even you mentioned Islamic faith. You don't want people to get involved and infiltrators from certain comments stab them in the back. Well, you had it even from African. Yeah, they're gonna interrupt me. Go on.
Let me ask a question. You see, the example that you're giving. what if those people that Boris Johnson discovered, were against him? What if they were actually, plotting with Russia to assassinate him? What would happen to them?
He would, obviously his mission wouldn't be fulfilled. He wouldn't be able to fulfill whatever he's set up to do while he's there.
And what would happen if, let's say, he discovered the plot before it was actually fulfilled, and Boris Johnson discovered that there were members of his own government, who were plotting with Russia to assassinate him? What would happen to those people?
What will happen to those people?
Yes. So the same people that you're talking about, let's say the people that you're talking about that were in his government, that were looking to stab in the back, let's say it was discovered that they were actually in a conspiracy with Russia, Vladimir Putin, and the boys, to assassinate Boris Johnson. What would happen to those people?
Well, this is what I would say. Those people would be the people that went against him. They'll be punished, I guess. I don't know what you want me to say.
I don't want you to say anything. I just want you to answer the question. What would happen to people in Boris Johnson's government that were plotting with a foreign power to assassinate the prime minister of the country? What would happen to them?
Well, if they were caught, they would probably be done for treason. And
what's the punishment for treason in this country?
Death. Oh, not in this country. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Imprisonment.
Right. Would you suggest that the punishment would be significant though? Or would it be a slap on the wrist?
No, it would be probably imprisonment, but I don't know how long. Well, no, I don't think anyone's been tried for that in decades. So
I don't think they have, right? But we can speculate that the fact that trying to assassinate the prime minister would be a severe crime. Yes,
it would. Yeah,
and trying to assassinate the prime minister in whilst in league with a foreign power would actually add to the severity. Yes.
Yep.
Right. So can we also conclude then that as a part of what you're talking about, that traitors...
Oh, brothers, peace, I'm gone, love and respect. Every time. Big up yourself, Reggie, man. Stop being this stiff-neck guy, man. You can do better than that.
Peace, So can we also conclude then that when African revolutionary governments come to the fore and there are traitors in their midst here, who can collude with foreign governments, to assassinate the leaders of the government and them kind of things, that they should be severely punished?
Yeah, I think they should.
Right. Okay. So I'm glad I get you. I've got your.
But what I would say is that in line with the question of the day, that it's not about one particular leader or a particular individual.
I agree.
Although it does help to have a very good leader to set up the thing, it's a system that we have to work towards. It's a structure. It's a way of a mindset, and it has to go on beyond that. And right now we have failed. We have failed for the longest time to implement a system or structure. All these people that you've mentioned, they should have set up a system that would last longer than their lifetime and take us to where we want to go to. But what we found is, as soon as these people have been assassinated, there's nothing to continue. It's just gone downhill. People even mention Gaddafi. We were both alive during Gaddafi's reign. There's nothing exceptional that we heard was coming from him that benefited black people anyway. You know what I mean? But people still point to him now that he's gone and say, oh, he was going to do this, he was going to do that. He was in power for bloody 40 years. You know what I mean? And he never really reached out to any black people. He never changed the circumstances of any black people. And when he went for black people, things just got worse and went downhill. So where are these systems that have been put in place that don't rely on some individual? And when that individual has been assassinated, we start saying, oh, if that individual was around, we would have got to X, Y, Z.
No.
These are just...
Reggie, I never spoke about an individual. I said the leaders, yes? Because oftentimes the leaders are targets of assassinations. Yeah, so there's more than one.
Well, I agree. Our leaders are actually.
I gave an example, but the problem is though with your assessment is that you're half right. You're not completely right. Yeah, and so I'll give you that, Reggie. You know what I'm saying? You made a half good argument. Yeah, well done. Congratulations. Right. However, normally they don't just come in and kill a leader and then it all falls apart. Yeah, more often than not. military interventions, yeah, don't just kill leaders, they kill people, yes. So, for example, when Maurice Bishop was assassinated, like he was assassinated alongside like 6 other members of his government. Just what I'm saying, yeah. When foreign invasion comes in, they destabilize by killing ordinary people certain times as well, yeah. And oftentimes people have been killed before even the leader gets killed. Does that make sense? For example, in Ghana, there were a number of attempts to assassinate Kwame Nkrumah, some by bombings. Yeah, the bombings didn't kill Kwame Nkrumah, but they killed many people that were around. Yeah, that were in the vicinity of him when they went off. Does that make sense? Yeah, and that kind of causes destabilization. Yeah, and so what happens is that Western propaganda is able to come in and influence the people, and some people are force susceptible, yeah, to Western propaganda. So would you also agree that it's the responsibility of the people to not be so susceptible to Western propaganda, to not just be gullible to the whims and wills of the European and their propaganda in a nation or their supposed superiority?
Well, yeah, to an extent, but at the same time, I think people were more inclined to follow, even though we don't agree with everything our government does. We still would put our government. We still try to protect our own people as opposed to outside people. We still like to rather foolishly actually feel like our government to some extent has our best interest at heart before outsiders, and that's kind of into our detriment at the same time because we've not really got anything back from our leaders. You've pointed to a handful of leaders that have actually possibly maybe been genuine, but maybe from the 5, the next maybe 95% of our leaders have always been all about themselves. You get what I'm saying? So we've never been able to actually trust our leaders. We've never. Why? Because they're quite greedy. They're greedy bastards. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time,
they're greedy bastards backed by Western superpowers. That's why. If it wasn't for the Western backing, the people of their nations could have got rid of them a long time. Yeah, that's the reality. What's keeping them? What's kept greedy bastards in power is big guns from America and Britain and these kinds of things. That's what's kept them in power. Yeah, and also the general inclination towards things Western among the people. I would wager, Brother Reggie, that if you were in government in Nigeria, very, very little would change because at the moment, unfortunately, you expressly have been unable to overcome your allegiance to Western, institutions and ways of thinking. So in that sense, nobody who hasn't overcome that Western conditioning is going to serve African people. That's the reality. So we have to, as a people, we can't.
It depends what kind of.
Just like you were saying, let me finish. Just like you were saying, yeah, we can't just look at the greedy leaders. Yeah, we have to look at ourselves as a people, right? So what is it we ourselves as a people are doing or not doing that facilitates the reign of these greedy leaders? What work have we done and not done, yeah, to get rid of these greedy leaders or to change our society to a point whereby these greedy leaders become unviable? There's no room for them. There's no space for them, yeah? The reality is that to varying different degrees, we accept the greedy leaders through our worship of the same things that the greedy leaders worship. We don't want freedom. We don't want
with all due respect, Shakara, we are in the UK right now and we see time upon time again the leaders of this country going against what the people want, covering up, doing things that you'd question. I mean, we've had it with coronavirus. The whole one moment is mask, the next moment is not mask. One moment, we're not going to lock people completely down, and the next moment we're on lockdown. They constantly go against what the people want, and they get away with it. Even here, where the structure and the system is a lot more, scrutinized and a lot more able to, like, a lot more free to ask questions. Talk to us of back home. You want people to go against the government, and you're saying what have the people done to actually override or to contest what has been done by the government? Sometimes when the system is in place, people just don't have the fight or the the means to be able to oppose their government in an effective way. And that's what you see in places like Africa. You just see a government in place. But even though there's a system above that, which you always keep on talking about, the white supremacy or this system of colonization that you talk about, there is this thing. There is still a capacity whereby we can still obtain a high level of success. That is even, even something that is within, what's the word for it? A high level of success that we can even like be proud of. You get what I'm saying? The same kind of success that you see in a lot of other places, and I've spoken, I think, to you about this before. Places like the Middle East, places like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, even India to an extent, Malaysia, all these places that have been colonized before, but from nothing over the last 50 to 60 years, I think Dubai or Qatar turned the desert land, deserted, just into something like it is today, into one of the richest countries in the world. Similar story that I think the reason why you're gonna point to is the fact that maybe the white supremacy has an obsession with Africa and doesn't want to allow the stronghold to go from Africa. That's what I've heard that argument before.
No, it's because those people had movements, led by people, and their people dedicated themselves to those movements. Yeah, you see, China assassinated millions of people that they consider to be sellouts, to the Chinese Revolution. Right, because they wanted absolute dedication to the program. Now, I'm not advocating that for Africa. I wouldn't advocate that for Africa. But the point is,
why not? Why not? What's more important? You achieving your success or blood on your hands? Like, would you not do all that it takes to obtain?
I'm not. In as much as I would die for African liberation, there are circumstances under which I'm prepared to kill for it. What I'm saying is that I would not promote and advocate a program of mass killing, as the only way to attain to achieve.
So you wouldn't approve a bloody revolution if it was to get your people out of what you.
There are circumstances under which I would approve a bloody revolution. What I was talking about was the mass execution of people. I'm not sure I would just blanketly approve of that. Now, to the extent that there are criminals and dissidents and what's the word, people that are prepared to commit treason, depending on how you define that, then punishment should be dealt out. We're not disputing that. That's not being argued against. But the idea of just mowing down millions of people, I can't find too many justifications for that kind of action. You know what I'm saying? But I'll be careful what you're promoting though, Reggie, because I suspect that if there was an African leader in Nigeria and you was there who wanted to mow down Western thinking people, you might be your head might be on the chopping block. So be careful how you
we do have that to an extent though, Shekara, and I've always tried to bring this out to you. But obviously some people have made excuses for it. Some people that you align yourself with. But if you look at Boko Haram, the actual meaning of Boko Haram is deaf to Western education or something along that line. So they are strong advocates, and you might actually like them. They're actually totally against Western democracy, Western way of thinking, Western freedom of speech. It's all the package together. They're completely against the whole colonial thing. And what they do is they kill people who don't agree with it. Now, it remains to be seen, just like your system that you're trying to push us towards, whether their system is actually going to be much more better than the system we have in Nigeria today. But
already,
that's an example of a group.
Are you suggesting that because I'm anti Western the Western educational system, the colonial education that has been imposed on Africa, that I must now support Boko Haram in everything else that they did?
No. I wouldn't say that I haven't said that. I don't think I've said that. I never have. That's not what I'm trying to say.
I'm good you're not saying that.